Good morning, everybody. How are you? It is a few minutes after 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Ultimate Baby Sleep Group. Now, I apologize because I was really supposed to go through this question thread last week, but I wasn't feeling so well. And now today, another little slight injury, nothing major. I had actually wrapped this myself. I semi-sprained this thumb of mine yesterday, and it's not broken, but I have to wear this because it helps inhibit the movement, which makes me feel better. Anyway, all right, hang on. We have a new phone over here, so I have to make sure I can see everything. All right, there we go. So this week's topic is sleep and your spouse or partner, okay? This is a major, major topic, and I wrote this really when I was reposting how absolutely critical it is. Because if you don't have a unified front with your partner, whether it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife or even just someone helping you with your child's sleep, it is a recipe for disaster, okay? I just gave a talk a week and a half ago at a local center here called Honey for Moms. Some of you are actually there, I know, because you joined our group here. And we talked a lot about having the support of your partner, having the support of your spouse, because it's a big, big problem of a lot of contradicting and conflicting ideas. Oftentimes you have one partner who's gung-ho, cry it out, just leave the baby to scream, like just do it. I know everyone else who does it. It's fine. Your baby's going to be fine. Our baby's going to learn to sleep. We'll be okay. Another partner might feel like, I want to be more gentle. I don't want to enlist crying methods. You might have things in between. You might have a lot of strife and animosity because you don't have time to bond. You don't have time to spend evenings together. You don't have time to go on dates. You might fight or argue in the middle of the night, like one of you wrote here, about who's going to go to the baby, whose turn it is, what all you're going to do to see who's going to help and what everything's going to look like. It can be really nonstop stress, nonstop anxiety between you and your partner when it comes to sleep. Because when you're not getting sleep, you're not patient, you're not in your prime, and you're not definitely going to be there to be able to have this calm, loving relationship between the two of you when you are so absolutely focused on the sleep you're not getting and whose turn it is. A lot of resentment often builds up, and it's not a good thing for anyone involved. It affects your relationship in turn with yourself, and then your relationship with your child, because when your child isn't in a happy home and there's a lot of stress and anxiety and strife and resentment and frustration and anger, it's not good for your child either. So the most important thing I can tell you before I go through some of these questions, and I know a lot of you reposted questions that don't have to do with your partner or spouse. I'm not going to have time to do that today like I thought I would, because I thought we were going to do it last week. I'm actually running to do something for my Rested Moms group, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So hopefully, if you have a question, always hit #SleepQ, and my team and I right now, Aubrey, is going to be coming in and answering your questions and able to help you and just guide you in the right direction a little bit. I try to hop in and out as much as I can. So if you have a question outside of the weekly threads, always hit, type in #SleepQ, and we'll do our best to help you, be there for you, and guide you, okay? So the most important thing you can always do is, first of all, come to a happy middle ground. With anything in life, you cannot succeed unless you have a game plan set forth. And you've heard me say this so many times. You have to plan properly, whether it's life, whether it's sleep, whether it's menu planning, whether it's a vacation. If something just happens and you're not mentally, emotionally, physically prepared for it, then you're obviously not going to be successful for it. So if you and your partner have any types of differentiating ideas or things that you feel like you're not on the same page with, before doing anything and enlisting any help with sleep, you have to have a conversation, right? You have to sit down and say, honey, I'm not managing because I'm not sleeping. I'm not coping. I'm getting resentful towards you. I need help. Or I know we need help. You feel like this. I feel like that. How can we come to some middle ground? And it's going to compromise. You might have to do a little more crying than you would want. He might have to be a little bit more gentle than you want, vice versa. I know we have some dads in here too. You're going to have to give a little, but welcome to having a compromise in a relationship with someone. You're not always going to get your end of the bargain hands down. And the biggest gift you can give your child is having that unified front with someone else, because more strife and fighting is not going to help the situation at all. Okay, now why can I not see who's on here? Here we go. Okay. All right. So now in terms of that, so you have to first have a conversation and give it. You can go in and look at different sleep philosophies and figure out what you feel works for you. Go in and watch all the videos in here. Start with the routine videos, go into catnapping, look up bedtime battles, all those things, and do it together, okay? Because if you don't have that unified front, nothing you're going to do is going to be successful. My husband always says, happy wife, happy life. And it's true. Even though we may not be on the same page and agree with everything we do at all times, at the end of the day, when we're aware of how the other person is feeling, we're going to be able to get through this together. And people often know that in a marriage or in a relationship, but for some reason when sleep comes into the picture, people tend to forget that this is also part of the big picture of parenting and being together and feeling like you understand one another and you have similar philosophies and ideas. When sleep comes into place, people get very desperate, and I understand that. Sleep, when you're sleep deprived, it is a form of desperation. But if you have a game plan, like here Aubrey wrote, what do you do in the middle of the night when you want one parent to go and the other parent doesn't want to? Have a game plan. Set it out. Say, okay, tonight this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. We're going to be able to end it together. I'm going to try this. You're going to try that. And we're going to have a meeting in the morning to see how it went. The middle of the night is not a time to make any major decisions in life. You're half asleep, you're exhausted, and you're probably not in your prime emotionally to be dealing with feelings that are already under the surface. So make a game plan the day before, and then you are properly prepared for everything else that comes up. Because otherwise, you're just going to set yourself up for failure. You're going to have more anger and resentment towards your partner, and things won't be in a good place, okay? Because even more important than tackling your sleep and getting the sleep you need is having someone on board with you. When people reach me and they want to work with me through my program, Rested Moms Club, we always ask, is your partner on board? How do they feel? Are they supportive of you working with a sleep expert? Do they feel like this is something that they have to work on? How do they feel about this? Are they seeing the negative effects in their life? Because quite honestly, it's really important, even if they're not physically involved every step of the way. Let's say you have a spouse who travels a lot and is not home or works all day and you're at home with the baby, whatever the story is, and they're not physically involved in every step of what you're implementing. Even just to have their emotional support is so critical for a few reasons. Number one, you're not going to be successful with anything you do if they're constantly rolling their eyes and saying, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. How are you going to get anywhere? B, you're not going to stick with it because they're not supporting you. So it's so important that even if, and so many people tell me, well, I don't need my spouse's support. I'm the one who makes the decision with the sleep. That's great. But if you don't have their emotional backing, you're not going to be successful here too, because sometimes it will be rough. It's a bumpy road to sleep sometimes. Sometimes it's not and it's smooth. So you want to make sure you have someone there supporting you, someone there guiding you. Aside from actually telling you what to do, it's more important just to sometimes get that pat in the back, that high five, and say, you're doing awesome. This is for the good. Remind you why you're doing it to stay in it, because that's the most important thing, is to have someone on board with you for your sleep. I cannot stress that enough. If you are a single parent, get a friend, get a cousin, get a sister, get an aunt, a mother, a brother. I don't care, but you need someone to push you through and support this, because if you're feeling alone in your sleep journey, that's only going to thwart more negativity, more feelings of desperation, sometimes inadequacy. A lot of mothers tell me they just feel like they don't know what to do and they feel like it's their fault. It's not your fault your child isn't sleeping. Every child can learn to sleep. I have worked with all kinds of crazy situations, from a simple baby waking up 100 times to have a pacifier or a bottle or nurse, all the way to 4 or 5-year-olds with, sensory processing disorders who are jumping off their beds and climbing out of the cribs all night and actually don't know how to wind down. Kids who make themselves throw up. Nothing's a lost case. But you have to have that confidence from within, and the confidence from within is only going to fester itself when you have support for someone to help build you up, okay? Really important. So, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to answer your question even though I tagged you, but please repost, please repost your question and hit hashtag SleepQ, so I will see it and I will remember to go in and answer you, okay? Jody, you asked a question that I'm going to touch on a little bit. Jody is in my Rested Moms Club, which is my paid program. So we have a private Facebook group in there. I'm going to answer you in more depth in a few minutes, Jody, when I go into that group. But just for everyone else, Jody asked what to do when your 1-year-old won't go to daddy at night. He's tried to lay with her or comfort her, but she cries and screams. Is this just a phase? Children are a lot smarter than we give them credit for, okay? And Jody, we're going to go more in depth because I know where you are in terms of my program and what you're doing. But for everyone else, if you ever feel like your child only wants you and doesn't want your partner, or only wants your partner and doesn't want you, children are going to mirror your own emotions of how you feel. So if you're already expecting that you're not going to be successful with what you're doing because they only want mommy or they only want daddy, then they're just going to mirror that right back to you. You have to have that loving security, but authority on the same token, so that way they know they have to learn to sleep with me. I sometimes do a little bit of parenting coaching in between what we do here. And I was talking to someone about their baby's sleep, and then on the phone, they happen to throw in that their 3-year-old only lets her make the sandwiches before it's time to go to school. The 3-year-old only lets her. I said, so what happens when, when the father tries to make the sandwiches? Well, she said he doesn't let. She screams and kicks on the floor, and she doesn't let him come near her bag, and then we just give in, and I always give in and make her sandwich for her. That's just allowing her to learn that she's the one in control. Because what's happening here, and you've heard me say this so many times, is this power struggle of back and forth. But it takes 2 people for this tug of war. So the only way to stop the power struggle is not by fighting harder. It's by gently, lovingly, securely, and all the kisses and hugs and everything in gentle tone of voice saying, darling, I'm going to be the one making your sandwich, and not giving in. Because what would you do if the father wasn't there or the father was out of town? You wouldn't have a choice, and you know that there's no choice. And that confidence coming from you, your child's going to mirror and know. So it's the same thing here, Jody, and we're going to talk about it more practically, what that means. You have to feel confident, or have your husband feel confident to know that he's also your daughter's father and daughter's parent, And not only is he allowed to be a part of the process, he should be. And there's no reason that she should feel upset that he's the one who's there trying to comfort her. Of course, she's allowed to have her feelings, and she might prefer one parent over the other. But at the end of the day, let's not allow her to have control of who's the one who comes, because you need a break. And at the end of the day, Jody, it's really important you learn to sleep with your husband too, especially through what we're doing. I don't want it to be that when we're done with the program here, you'll be still enslaved to the house, then you can never leave at bedtime or go out, or what if you're not around? Okay, so we're going to talk about what that means practically, but you have to first take that initiative to feel confident, and your husband has to take that initiative to feel confident and know it's okay, even if she wants you, that sometimes he's the one doing it, and she'll still be okay because he loves her. He's still sticking with our program. He's following all of the rules, quote unquote, and all the directions that we're moving through. We want to just make sure that she knows that it's okay that he's there too. Okay? Now, this is the last question I'm going to answer from Jenny. Since the day my husband found out we were expecting, he's been overprotective. Now it's just gotten out of hand, I think, and I can't handle it. He's so worried about her crib and her hitting her head on the rigid bars. She sits up now and pulls herself up to stand in it. So these nights we've been dealing with trying to get on a sleep schedule have been tough as it is, but now throw in that he's all worked up about the crib. Is there a safer alternative? Is it really that dangerous to begin with? I mean, it's a regular crib just like everyone else's. He is trying to bring her to bed with us, so we lug in the pack and play up all night down. What can I do so I can assure him that the crib is safe? This is a perfect example, Jenny, of having your spouse and partner not in the same place. You feel like the crib is fine. You feel like it's a safe place. A lot of babies sleep in cribs. He's nervous. And you have to obviously respect his opinion. He's so excited to have a baby. And you said yourself from the moment he found out you were both expecting, he felt overprotective. And that's okay. Let him have that sense of ownership and let him worry and let him feel like this is so important, because it is. So you might not be able to change his mentality, because that's the way he processed his emotions. That's the way he approached the situation, with feeling like it's his sense of responsibility to make sure everyone is safe and everyone is okay. There's a few options. Number one, you could sit down and talk about other alternatives so that way he feels comfortable. Whether you get bumpers, I know they're controversial. Some people say yes, some people say no, so I'm not telling you what to do. You could get bumpers to make sure she can't hit herself on the rigid parts of the crib. You could enlist a pack and play full time as a crib, if that's what you feel. Pack and plays are soft. They have the netting. You could decide that maybe he's not really worried. It just stresses him out when he sees her in there. So maybe you could be the one to go to her. Sit down and have a talk about what it really is that bothers him, because it's all just about having that open communication. Is a crib safe? Yes, a crib is safe. But just because we know it's safe doesn't mean he's not going to worry, because this is his baby that he loves so much. So what can we do to ease his anxiety, ease his tension, ease his worries, but at the same time, make sure you still have a situation that you are comfortable with. So sit down and have a talk with him and figure out, can we enlist some kind of bumper? Should we keep her in the room with us all night so that way you can watch her? Would that make you feel more comfortable? Do you want to sleep in the room with her? Should we try to enlist a pack and play instead? Should I be the one to go to her? Is it just seeing you that makes you nervous, but really knowing she's over there, you're okay? What is it exactly that bothers him? Once you know what it is that bothers him, then you can make a game plan, right? When you're going on a trip, you can't map out directions till you know where you're going. So what's the ultimate goal? What really is it that's upsetting him about her sleep and this crib? Then figure out how you can. He's going to have to give a little. You're going to have to give a little. But then you'll hopefully find a happy middle ground to make sure that you are all getting the sleep you need. Okay? I'm going to head out now. And I hope none of you are writing comments now, because I cannot figure out how to see them right now. So just post them again. I will see them after I post this video. I have a few spots open in my Rested Moms Club program, which is my paid program where I work you through my system. We get your baby sleeping. There's a lot of you in Rested Moms Club, but they're actually in this Facebook group too, so you can hit up in the comments below. I just had 7 graduates last week of moms that are sleeping through the night on amazing routines and getting all their sleep goals, and it wasn't always like that. Trust me, they were up all night nursing. One of them just posted this beautiful long post about how she felt like her life was falling apart. That part's not beautiful. Felt like her life was falling apart. She had a horrible relationship with her partner. She was always with her 2-year-old, and she was spending hours getting to bed, and she was stressed, and now she puts him in his bed, leaves the room, he sleeps through the night. He's happy. She's happy. My Rested Moms Club is an amazing, amazing program, and you get my direct support and guidance very intimately. If you want to hear more about this, then I will post a link above. You can set up a time to chat with me. I don't have tons of slots available because, like I said, there aren't so many spots in Rested Moms Club, and I don't have tons of spots to actually talk in my schedule right now. But if you want to hit me up and have, a sleep success call where I run you through the program, we talk about your child's sleep, I'll tell you how it works, and we can see if you're a right fit, then definitely apply above for a call. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you all later.